If you want to thrive in today's marketplace, you need to adapt, innovate, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Welcome to the Practice Aligner podcast, where we share the latest hacks and best practices so you can acquire more patients and grow a profitable business. If you want to get there faster, visit practicealigner.com. I'm your host, Luis Trevino, and let's dive into today's show.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
So how do you feel? Our little baby is going to be one tomorrow.
He's going to be one tomorrow. I feel accomplished. I was telling my friends that the way that we're going to celebrate is by putting him to sleep, and then you and me, we're going to go out on a date.
Yes.
To celebrate that we officially have kept him alive for an entire 12 months.
Hey.
Woo!
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
We're a great team. It was a wild ride, but it's a sweet one.
For sure. So we're back with another episode.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be talking about competitive advantages.
Yeah.
And how you can have one too.
Yeah. In this one, we're actually going to be talking about crafting your competitive advantage, because we've talked with a lot of practices and practice owners, doctors, that they understand that they need a competitive advantage. And I don't know if you hear a baby in the background, but they just don't know how to craft it. They understand they need it. Mm-hmm. And so they might be pulling all the stunts. They might be trying to look at their competition. They're trying to see what is it that they can do different. But sometimes you just hit roadblock after roadblock. And I just kind of want to, do a little bit of a mini workshop, in a sense of how can I actually craft it? Where do I go? How do I even start?
For sure. And, when there's a lot of ways that you can approach, crafting your competitive advantage. I think today we're going to walk through a simple exercise that pretty much anybody can do if they wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. But this is just kind of getting your feet wet. Obviously, you could expand this and go even deeper and look at product and price and the people that you have. We're going to kind of give you a basic understanding so that you can start working with it.
Yeah.
And then you have a foundation that you can expand on as you continue to explore yourself, because part of having a competitive advantage is not it's a thing that is always evolving, right. Obviously new technologies come into market. There are new techniques that come into market. And part of having that competitive advantage is maybe always kind of staying up to date with those type of things. Right. So you're always going to be improving upon that. But what we're going to talk about today is kind of the fundamentals. So let's just dive in and go through them.
And I think actually one of the main competitive advantages that you can have is just doing this exercise, mm-hmm. because not every business does this. And it's understandable. We're in the day-to-day, we kind of get soaked into what's happening right now and trying to put out all the fires, trying to build on on top of something that's already moving. Mm-hmm. So taking time out of your day to just go through this exercise by itself is already something extra that not every business does.
For sure. So super important. Take some time out of your day and do this workshop with us.
Yes. Go. Okay. So I think there are, for this exercise, is 3 main questions that we want to answer. And I think first, before we go into those 3 questions, at the end of the day, what we really need to know, the mindset that you need to put yourself into, is understanding your clients to the T, understanding who you are talking to, and trying even to put yourself in that situation. Mm-hmm. When I am talking to clients, we're trying to figure out what's their competitive advantage, or what type of promotion or offer we should be doing, or how to even the ad copy that we're creating for that specific campaign or whatnot. I always ask them okay, if I am your ideal customer, mm-hmm. if I'm your ideal client, why should I go to you versus anybody else?
For sure.
Why should this be important to me? Mm-hmm. Why the fact that you are on top, have the latest technology is important to me? Mm-hmm. And asking it in that way it always makes them like click it a little bit better, in the sense that even their answer sometimes changes and they're like, oh, well, because of this. And it's just comes so obvious to them. So I think it's always really good to put yourself in those shoes.
Yeah. And I think, part of the question that you just asked goes back to something that we've always talked about, which is value proposition, right? Like if I'm your ideal patient, why should I go with you versus someone else? And when you come into a market where everybody potentially has the same technology, that's maybe another business that does the same thing as you and is right down the street.
Yes.
Right. Maybe they have the same level of experience, they have the same staff. Then how, and it becomes more of a commodity. Then the question becomes, how can you stand out against something like that, right? And I think the questions that we're going to go through today will definitely help you have a better understanding, because part of what you are doing, and if everybody has the same thing, then what's really going to differentiate is just you as a person, as a business, and what your core values are.
Yeah.
And then you having a thorough understanding of who your market is, and you being able to effectively communicate to them and that they know that you understand their problems.
Yes.
Right. And they're, and so, yeah. So what's question number one?
Okay. The question, let me actually put like the three questions, because I think they're very well intertwined. So the first one is, what's your client's biggest goal or desire? The second one is, what's your client's greatest dream or aspiration? And the third one, what's your client's biggest pain or frustration? And so I feel like in every single time, you need to answer these again and again and again. Yeah.
And I think that these are all questions that you need to ask for every service that you have, because again, like when you have a thorough understanding of, like we just said right now, right, their biggest fears, what keeps them up at night?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are they really worried about? And actually, this is an exercise that we do with our clients when they come on board with us. All right. And so basically, to give you an example about, like, let's just say Invisalign, right? And so what is my biggest fear, my goals, my dreams, right, when it comes to getting Invisalign, and how can I relate with that? Well, Invisalign is, anything that involves just like having a better smile, right? Personal story, I hate my smile, right? Like, I don't like it. I was very self-conscious about it when I was a kid, and people used to make fun of me people used to make fun about my smile, right? They still do. They comment on my ads and stuff. You might be one of them. And so that's fine, right?
But at the smile.
Oh, thank you, babe. But at the end of the day, right? So like my biggest fear is that, like people are going to look down on me, right? They're going to think negatively of me, and smiling, or, I grew up being self-conscious because people would make fun of me as a kid. And so it's obviously becomes this whole self-confidence thing. And so because I am able to have a better smile, well, then I can potentially feel more confident about myself. I can feel better about relationships. I can feel better about my professional life, whatever it might be. And those are all problems that you're trying to solve. Like, oh my God, what if I don't get this promotion because I'm in a job that requires me to look really good, and I'm not going to get the job because of this? Or, I'm really attracted to this woman, right? And maybe I just won't be, she won't be attracted to me because I'm not too confident about my smile, or I'm just not confident, period. And, regardless of what it is. I don't like how
you look in the photos. I
don't like how, exactly. I don't like to smile in my photos, right? Like, so imagine
I told you about this one friend that I had that like, she would always like smile covering her mouth.
Oh yeah.
Like she was just so self-conscious about it. And it's like, dude, it's fine. Right. But she was, and it wasn't until she fixed her smile that like now we finally saw her mouth, in all of her Facebook photos.
Yeah, and so imagine their whole lives just going through that and not being able to just fully express themselves freely.
Yeah.
Like imagine how liberating that must be when she finally did feel confident,
Yeah.
you know?
And all the videos we see of like people crying when they finally see that smile, right?
For sure. And it's
Love
amazing. And so that's a game changer. And so those are the type of questions that you need to be asking yourself, because if you have a better understanding of what people go through on the day to day, again, those are all things that you can leverage in how you communicate with people so that, you know, they pick you over somebody else. Because at the end of the day, we have always said,
Yeah.
right? We do business with people we know, we like, and we trust. And if I have an affinity, or if I feel that like this doctor understands my situation and I feel heard and understood, then I most likely will choose that person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless like there's something else that I really, really care about. Oh, like maybe they're 10 minutes closer. Okay, well, if that matters to me because I'm super busy, well, then maybe I might choose this person. Right. But at the end of the day, you have to stack the odds on your favor.
In your favor.
Yeah.
For sure. Because even if they were closer, like I would much rather pay the money
Sure.
and drive a little bit farther to go somewhere that
Exactly.
they understand me.
And it all depends on the person, because we all have different values. We have different things that,
Yeah.
you know, I value more than other people. Right. And so, you know, it just depends on who you work with. But that's also a good question, because when you ask yourself, who is my ideal patient? Then you should say somebody who doesn't care if this other practice is closer. Right.
Yeah.
And now the question becomes, how can I attract those people? Well, put
Yeah.
yourself out there, right? Put yourself out there and talk about what is it, like, what is your origin story? Why are you passionate about what you do every single day? And people will relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, they will see that you're being vulnerable and that you're a real human being. You're not just a brand. You're not just, you know, an establishment.
Right. And you're
a real
talking to
person.
them directly. I think that is key. And you can do that same exercise with different audiences if that is who you cater. Maybe you're catering, you know, somebody in like 30s to 50s, and they obviously can pay it for themselves. So you're talking to them directly. But if you are also talking to parents and you want to, like, because you're catering more towards like kids, then you do have to think about their pains, their desires, and how like maybe their kid not having a great smile is affecting them, right? And you just talk to them in a different way. So you become that like parent that like you understand this other parent that's coming to you.
And you know what's funny? Actually, I'm just recalling, we have a doctor who in his videos actually has his son. So he has a little boy, and when he does these videos for his marketing campaigns, he always has his son with him. And the interesting thing is that he draws a lot of moms, you know, because, hey man, like this is a doctor. He's a real human being. He has a son. He's a father. He's married, right? I want to go with people that are the same as me. You know, I want to work with people that are the
I
same as me.
immediately would trust that person.
Exactly. Right. Because he's a real human being. You know what I mean? And you know that he's just a person that's down to earth. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's even why, like, some of these TikToks where you see some of these doctors dancing and stuff like that, like, have become super, like, real big. And I think it's just because we all just want to be more relatable. Right.
Yes. We end up like closing that gap between doctor, patient, and actually being like person to person. And it's like, I understand you. I understand what you want. And you're going to also have fun here, right?
For sure.
Especially for people that don't like the dentist or are scared of them.
Yes. I have anxiety about the dentist. I'm disrupting your regular programming to do a quick plug. Now, one of the levers that you can pull that will exponentially grow your practice is the art of getting people to say yes to treatment. And one of the ways that you can facilitate this is through having the right financing methods and partners in your practice. So we have done a lot of research, and we have found 4 of the best financing methods that you need to implement in your practice to easily get more patients to say yes to treatment. It is our patient financing cheat sheet. If you would like to acquire this cheat sheet, it is 100% for free. Go ahead and click on the link here in the show notes so you can get that cheat sheet today, and you can start implementing these
methods in your practice so you can get more people saying yes to treatment. Thank you, and let's go back to the show.
So a simple exercise that you can implement right now, and if you really want to take this to the next level, is grab one of your products, braces, Invisalign, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Maybe it's another kind of clear liner that has different benefits, etc. And then identify who is my ideal avatar, right? Who is the person that I want to attract? And start listing out pretty much everything that you can about them. Oh, yes, they're moms. They're within the ages. They're young moms. They're older moms. Maybe they're grandparents and they want to bring their grandkids to come and get because we see that all the time, right?
Wow.
And so look at who it is, right? Like identify who that person is. You can even name them. That's an exercise that we do all the time. And then you start to ask yourself the 3 questions that we talked about. And once you do that, you'll have a more thorough understanding and then figure out how can I relate to this person, right? Maybe it's that one of their fears is that their son or their daughter will grow up not being confident in their smile. And maybe you also have a daughter or a son, right? And so then I would encourage you, grab your phone, turn on the camera, and then just start like telling that story and start telling like why you even started your business in the first. Why did you become an orthodontist? Why did you become a dentist, right?
Yeah.
And see how then you can relate your story, your like why you're passionate about what you do to this specific problem that you're solving. And then if you have similarities with that avatar, then talk about those similarities. And I think even if you just do that and you publish that online, maybe you put some ad dollars behind it, $5 or whatever. You'll start getting people to watch it and they'll start to relate with you more. And I can almost guarantee that you'll get at least one patient out of it. And that's a simple exercise. Like do that for every single one of your services. And it's actually pretty easy because for most orthodontists, you do 2 things, right? Braces or clear aligners. And then that's it, right? If you're a dentist and you have a multitude of services, and I would encourage you to outline the features and benefits and the avatars for every single one. And then once you identify that, then use that as your competitive advantage. Talk about it, create a video about it, see, figure out how you can relate to people, because that's all this is.
That's awesome. Yes. So going back, I'm going to repeat the 3 questions one more time, just so you can go ahead, write them down, start creating something with this. So what's your client's biggest goal or desire? What is your client's greatest dream or aspiration? And what is your client's biggest pain or frustration? And like Luis said, you can do this with every single service. I also encourage our clients to do it as a whole, because even if it's one main thing, especially if you are putting several services together to accomplish one mommy transformation or whatever that might look like, it might also make sense. So just try a different way, see what accommodates you the most and the best, and then let us know what happens.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
We would definitely love to hear that, and leave a comment below. Make sure to check out more of our episodes. And of course, if you like more of the video vibe, we are on YouTube. If you prefer to listen to the episodes, we're on every single podcast platform. Make sure to follow and subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear from us, and we'll keep you posted.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.